Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Hoov's Your Daddy's podcast. We took a little bit of hiatus again. I know we said we're going to be a little bit consistent.
We got kind of lazy.
We got a little lazy, but we're back better than ever. You see the gear, baby. It's March Madness.
And in honor to all my fellow alumni and all you people who like to party, I've worn my fake Patty's Day t-shirt out drinking Lawrence since 1863.
All I know is we're back in the saddle, guys, and we're here to talk some sports. We're going to go. This is going to be pretty consistent. We have to be consistent because we're playing a game. We're going. We have another friendly competition going.
Back and forth.
We want to go over some of these games. We want to share with you who we think who's gonna be moving on this first round.
That's first games start up on Thursday.
Yep. And so we're gonna go. We're gonna cover the Thursday games. We're gonna cover the first round, and then we'll have another episode jumping into the second. So,
yes, sir.
So let's go ahead and
we'll just dive right.
Yeah,
in.
let's dive right into it. So we got some. Yeah, let's got some first four games here.
So all games being played in Indy. Everyone's playing at the same gym. There's four of these games. They're basically the teams that were the last teams into the tournament. And for those of you who've never watched a sporting event in your life. So first game is Norfolk State, which is some little school in Virginia. I think it's HBCU, versus Appalachian State.
Well, this is a no-brainer to me. I'm going to go App State. App State's been there before. We can argue it. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time arguing on these because, honestly, they're probably going to get bounced once they jump into the bracket.
I mean, whoever wins this game has to play Gonzaga.
We know how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that Appalachian State has been there. They've been in the tournament before, probably consistently last 3 years, I think. So, no doubt about it. Norfolk State's a nobody.
Norfolk State's that team, though, that was a 15 seed and upset Missouri.
Missouri who? Come on.
I was going Missouri.
Anyways, App State.
Norfolk.
You go Norfolk? Oh. By the way, I just had to go ahead and dust off my trophy here. Let's go ahead and set it again right here in the middle. So, I know it was a 6-1 trophy. Now it's going to be the NCAA trophy. And guess what? We're going to be playing. We're kind of working out the kinks on how this. We'll post it on our Facebook. We'll post it on our YouTube.
We're going to have ways so that everyone, including our followers, can compete against one another.
Definitely. So our brackets that we have, carbon copy right here, we're going to go ahead and post a picture on our Facebook page. But we also are going to play point-wise. So the game on your carbon copy bracket is worth 2 points if you get it. If you don't get it, like let's say, obviously I got North Carolina going the distance. If they were for some reason to get bounced in the second.
Let's just go ahead and say they play Baylor and lose by 20.
Let's say they get bounced in the second. That means that I still get a chance. We're going to play week to week.
We'll have like a live bracket.
That way we can still get some points. It won't be worth 2 points. It'll be worth maybe one or
maybe
half. I don't know.
Like
but regardless, we'll make that happen as well. So, moving on. Game 2.
Game 2, you got the good old Wichita State Shockers versus Drake, and no, we're not talking about the rapper. I'm going WSU.
That was a plain joke.
But I'm going WSU. Drake's okay, but they're not. WSU played really good, played tough, lost barely to Cincinnati. They should dominate them.
Easily Wichita State on this one. Drake, I mean, this is another one of those teams. I know COVID kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into things, but Drake played a cupcake schedule. I don't think they're that great. Yes, they only have 4 losses, but I think Wichita State's going to win this one. Yep, so. Wichita State's going to win this one. Okay, moving on to the next one. Mount St. Mary's versus Texas Southern. This game really doesn't matter at all.
Texas Southern, man.
But Texas Southern's going to take this one. You can look at these guys' records. I mean, even if you don't know football or any sports, realistically, Texas Southern
stats, if you like their mascot or not,
it is what it is. Like I said, when you look at these guys' records and you look who they played, Texas Southern has a better resume, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. The last game we got for the first 4 is Michigan State and UCLA, which, if you're looking purely off record, UCLA would have the advantage, but UCLA has choked every single game these last few. And Michigan State has also beat Michigan. They beat Ohio State, and they played Illinois pretty damn close. So, I mean, for that reason, I think Michigan State's going to win it. With them being 15-12, like, you got a question. Should they really be in it over, let's say Louisville, who played in a tough ACC? But Michigan State should win this game pretty handily and compete with whoever they're going against next. Go Green.
Yeah, easy one right here. Michigan State's going, and they're going to go the distance on this one. No big deal at all. I think that They've been there before. UCLA, yeah, they got a good record, but I just don't think they're going to get past Michigan State. Michigan State almost beat Michigan twice this year, so
that's true.
So we're going to keep on moving on.
We'll go into the first round now. We'll start with the West bracket with the number 1 overall seed. I think we both have this pick pretty easy. It's going to be Gonzaga versus whoever we chose from the first 4. Me being Norfolk, him being Appalachian State. Gonzaga's going to go in and just dominate them. It's going to be like the Los Angeles Lakers playing a YMCA 5th grade team. It is just going to be completely outclassed. They're going to win by 20-plus points. You'll watch it because it's sports, but it's going to be painful if you went to one of those schools.
Yeah, this is no brainer. Zags are going and they're going to go pretty big. This is going to be a triple digit.
That might be the ugliest game of all these games.
Oh yeah, no competition there.
You go on to the next game. You got OU versus Missouri. OU hasn't played that well this last couple games, but I mean, let's be honest. We live in Kansas. We're never picking Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri. Yeah.
There's no way
they can suck.
I mean,
if you live in Missouri and you're watching this, we appreciate you, but you suck.
All I'm gonna say with this one is that Missouri, on paper, stats-wise, yes, they'd give OU a good game, but OU played in a tough conference. The Big 12's no joke.
They played KU pretty close. They played Baylor pretty close.
I think it's a coin flip for me.
Yeah.
They ain't making it past the second round, but I'm going OU.
Win this first game.
All right, next one up, we got Creighton versus UC Santa Barbara.
UCSB, Santa Barbara all day. You cannot be Coach McDermott and say what you said to your players and expect them to want to play for you, man.
They're going to be
made some racial comments, and those players. I mean, he offered to quit his job. That's how bad it got, and they just said, "All right, you can come back." And the players were like, "Well, he should apologize." I'm guessing he did apologize, but the next game they got blown out by Georgetown.
Yeah,
by 40. So I just Creighton shouldn't be in it. Yes, their record looks great. But they're going to get destroyed by a very good UC Santa Barbara team. This is a team that has a bunch of Oregon transfers, Cal transfers.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be it.
I agree. I got UC Santa Barbara moving on for sure. Next up, Virginia, Ohio.
The good old Bobcats.
Ohio is a decent team.
They're one of those teams, man, that if they get hot early, they're a very hard team to stop. The problem they have is Virginia has... Virginia's probably one of the best defensive teams in the nation. Now, offensively, they get into a little bit of a slump. But
that's true.
I just can't see them scoring a bunch of points against Virginia. This is going to be one of those snoozer games. Unless Ohio comes out and is just nailing threes, it's going to be one of those games that's like 60 to 50. It's not going to be a very high-scoring game.
Let's face it. If you can't score over 50 points, you're not beating Virginia. So,
Virginia could score 51 and allow 50, and they'd probably win.
Yeah, I got Virginia moving on. Moving to the next one right here in the West
versus WSU. We both got that.
Yeah, I got you go first.
I've watched a couple USC games, and I mean they have probably one of the best players who's going to be he's going to be a lottery pick. It's Evan Mobley, really really good player, but he's it. He's the best player on the team. Now, he is really good, but can he carry that whole team to a win? I mean, yes, they're 22-7. They won some games, but they got dominated by some lower-level Pac-12 teams. And WSU is just playing, ever since Greg Marshall got fired, has been playing like a team that just loves to fight. And I see them beating USC. It's going to be an ugly game, but it's going to be close, but I see WSU winning this game.
Well, this is where we disagree for one of the first times. I mean, I like Wichita State. I know it showed some heart, but they were one of the first teams that were going to be out in the tournament. I don't think they necessarily should have been in the tournament. You can hate me if you want, but they played pretty bad in that last game against Cincinnati.
They only lost by 1, though.
They did, but I don't think the game should have been that close in the first place.
Shouldn't have. Yeah, there's some questionable decisions made.
I had USC moving on, but it doesn't matter, in my opinion, who won this game. I think they still lose to the next one that I have up.
Eastern Washington versus KU.
As much as I'd like to see KU lose,
Hate 'em.
Sorry to all my
Hate
friends that are KU
I'm
fans.
not sorry.
You
Hate
know
'em.
I'm talking to you. You know I'm roasting you on Twitter when they lose. But I still have.
They should win this.
I still have KU winning this first round.
Everyone's hyping up Eastern Washington because they do shoot the three very well. They shoot it almost at 40%. And I mean and KU's biggest weakness is they aren't very good defending the three. That's how Baylor's beat them.
Yeah, but you're talking about a blue blood against a team that's been what?
You got KU they got Agbaji, they got Garrett. David McCormick should be clearing up from COVID, and he's probably going to come in and get a walking in double. As much as I would love to see KU lose in the first round, they should win this game by 20. They should.
I wouldn't have given that much. Maybe
double digits.
Double
We'll
digits,
say
for sure. Double digits for sure.
Go on to Oregon VCU, the 7-10 matchup. Now, the 10 seeds, apparently, like I saw this stat on TV, the 10 seeds are, I think it's 21-16 versus 7 seeds in the last
They play tough
couple
for sure.
years. It's Oregon. Oregon is highly underrated, man.
Yeah,
the fact that
I agree.
they got a 7 seed, I don't know why Coach Altman is Mr. March. He plays his best basketball coach's best in March.
Mm-hmm.
I see Oregon walking in and just smacking VCU and making VCU wish they never flew to Indy.
I agree. I have Oregon moving on. I think they were really underseeded in the tournament. Don't think they deserved upwards of a 5, but definitely
They should have at least been a 5.
Definitely 5-6 for sure. I think it's going to be a pretty lopsided game. I think Oregon moves on.
You probably could have threw them in the Midwest bracket and put them at a 4.
Yeah, and honestly, to close out the West, we don't even have to talk about this one too much. Iowa versus Grand Canyon. Iowa's moving on. They are playing unreal basketball.
You got a 7-foot center that just became your leading scorer. They already retired his jersey, and he's still playing. There's no way they lose to Grand Canyon University.
Yep. No other questions on that one.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Let's move down to the East with Michigan versus whoever wins the Mount St. Mary's Texas Southern matchup.
Hate them. As a person that grew up in middle school, loving watching Ohio State football, because our uncle lives out there. I will never cheer for that team up north, but they're gonna win this game because once again it's a 16 seed. The only 16 seed to ever lose, only one seed to lose to a 16 was Virginia, UCSB.
Yep. Yeah, Michigan's winning this one hands down.
UMBC,
there's no way that they're gonna lose this game.
This one we
8-9 matchup. LSU versus St. Bonaventure.
Go Bonnies! The Bonnies came out. They shoot the 3. They play great defense. LSU's looked good. They looked good against Alabama, but I attribute that to Alabama just looking really bad. I think the Bonnies beat them. Pretty close game, but I think that will be one of the most exciting ones to watch.
I agree. I saw a interesting stat about St. Bonaventure that they actually only have all 5 of their starters are juniors, and they have no bench, hardly.
Yeah. All their players,
5 starters play for the bulk of the game.
Are juniors, and all the couple bench players they have are young dudes, and they get next year and a possible 6th year to come back. Well, so they could be dangerous, if not this year, maybe in the next couple.
I'm going to tell you, the only reason I picked them is I have no respect for LSU basketball.
Oh, no. They're horrible. So let's go to the next one. This is the most intriguing. It doesn't look like it should be. It's 5 versus 12, Colorado versus Georgetown. 12 seeds are... I think they have like a 70% in the last 10 years.
Notorious.
This is the closest game. In the last 10 years, 70% of 5-12 matchups is the 12 seed winning the game. You got Georgetown, who's 13-12. Honestly, if they don't win the conference, they're not doing anything.
Yeah. And
people are saying that Patrick Ewing, he's the greatest coach we've ever had. It's like, but you're 13-12.
Yeah.
I like Patrick Ewing. He was a good player. Colorado, though, that point guard is amazing.
Yep.
And it took Oregon State overtime to take the Pac-12 from him. So it all depends. What Colorado team's showing up? Is it going to be the one that chokes? Or are they going to be the real deal? And I think Colorado shows up, runs Georgetown out the gym, and Patrick Ewing gets to go home early.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Georgetown earned their spot there, but I just don't think... I think their luck runs out against Colorado.
Let's be honest, they beat Creighton.
Colorado just is a better team all around. I mean, I just don't see them putting up much of a fight. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I have the edge going to Colorado for sure. Now, moving on to the 4 versus 13 in the East, we have Florida State versus UNC Greensboro. For me personally, having an ACC team there, UNC Greensboro has a impressive lineup. They've had impressive games this year. They I believe they shoot pretty well.
Yeah.
But I still think that Florida State has the edge on this one.
So this is where I'll disagree. I really love Florida State's coach, Coach Hamilton.
I mean, I don't love their coach.
No,
because
I like him.
They disrupt the ACC,
I know, but he's
I
a good coach. My issue is, so Florida State is notorious for turning the ball over. You could say even watching them play North Carolina.
Oh, I mean,
they turn
it's
the ball
true.
over.
Yeah.
UNC Greensboro forces dozens of turnovers, and they change their defense every possession. They run a almost full court press the entire game, and Florida State turned it over without pressure. So what happens when you add pressure? There's got to be more.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State turns the ball over 20-plus times and UNC Greensboro gets some easy baskets and wins a close game, but a respectable game.
Well, I am going to say this. I mean, I don't disagree with you with the turnovers because they did turn it over quite a bit, but they turned it over 20-plus times.
I mean, they ended up being able to shoot the lights out pretty well.
And they still beat North Carolina. I mean, there was some refs at play. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that, but even with the iffy calls and the turnovers, they can still ball.
But
and I think it takes a lot to beat them.
I think they're going to choke.
We'll see. We'll see what that one.
So we'll go on.
So
you got the 6-11 BYU and then versus Michigan State or UCLA.
No, Michigan State.
Yeah, it's got to be Michigan State. BYU's going to choke.
Oh yeah,
BYU's one of those teams. If you're not old enough to Jimmer, Jimmer.
It's a long
They
past
haven't been
those
good
days.
since Jimmer Fredette, who's playing for like the Guangdong Sharks over in China right now, and
Shanghai
Shanghai
Sharks.
I'm thinking of the Guangdong Tigers. My bad. That's on me. I got it mixed up. But they're just not very solid. It's just a bunch of like dudes that are way past, like they're not in their early 20s. They've all been on like mission trips. They're like 24, 25-year-old basketball players playing some young dudes.
Yeah.
Michigan State has some talent. They're gonna run BYU at the gym because they're one of those blue blood programs that Coach Izzo coaches.
He's been there
March.
before.
He's here for March.
I mean, BYU's been there before too, but I mean, just because you play the Zags 2 times a year doesn't mean that you're ready to be in the tournament.
And they lose both times.
So yeah, Michigan State or even if it's UCLA, I don't see BYU.
If UCLA made it, UCLA will run them out the gym too.
So 3 versus 14 in the East. Texas versus Abilene Christian. No brainer for me. Shaka Smart. Moving on. I hate Texas.
It's horns down all day.
Sorry to my buddy Reg.
But
I
Texas
mean,
will win
at the end of the day,
Shaka Smart.
Shaka Smart knows how to coach some basketball.
Is like, I believe they said this is, I can't remember what year. It's the anniversary of the year he took VCU all the way to the Final Four.
All I'm saying is, Shaka, if you learned anything from the season, grow your hair out now.
Man, that lucky hair, man.
Go ahead, get a toupee, get something, because honestly, you were running teams when you had hair. You shaved the hair one time, you had a little dip, get back in it. Texas is going on with this one.
Random sidetrack. Do you think they beat KU if KU doesn't get COVID?
I think so.
I think
I just think Texas is a well-rounded team, and they're going to give some teams some trouble.
They got a kid named Jericho Sims that has been playing. Reminds me of when Kemba Walker took over the tournament and won it for UConn. He's going to catch fire, I think, and he's gonna carry that team as far as he can take them. But going on to the next 7-10, you got UConn out of, I don't even know if they're the Big East or American anymore. I don't know what they are. Going against Maryland, let's be honest, the Terps suck.
How in the world did Maryland even get in the tournament?
Man. Louisville should have been in over them.
UConn's going to win
St.
this
Louis
one.
should have been over. Yeah, UConn's going to dominate.
Easy win for them.
No question. UConn's going to come in and play some great ball and kick them out the tournament. No, let's just move on to
closing out the East. If you're bracket, Rick Pitino.
Good old Rick Pitino.
To him, hey, good thing you got there. He's probably not going to be there very long.
I don't know, man.
He made it over to Iona. I mean, guess what? Chances are he's buying strippers down there too.
Yeah, my favorite thing is, so we're both going Bama on this, right?
I'm going Bama,
okay,
100%.
Good. My favorite thing with Rick Pitino is
send him home.
Rick Pitino goes to Louisville, allegedly buys all. He did. There's no allegedly. He did it. And his assistants were buying escorts and strippers for recruits and players. and he was getting money from Adidas. Goes over to Greece, coaches a professional team, comes over to Iona, which is a small Catholic school. I guess he asked for forgiveness from Jesus himself, and they gave him a second chance. They're like, oh, he found the Lord. Are you sure? Are you sure? Great coach, really good.
Yeah, honestly,
all the respect in the world from a coaching standpoint.
Great at Louisville.
But he's a certified scumbag.
Oh yeah, but I just don't see him beating Bama. Bama's
I think they'll give him a game defensively, but Bama's got enough shooters on the team. They're just gonna run them out the gym.
You just can't argue with that Bama team this year. I think they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be a tough pill to swallow for some of these teams.
So the ironic part is when you do, not trying to look too much forward. Alabama's coach Nate Oates was an assistant for the UConn coach. Like when Hurley was at Buffalo and he left to go to UConn, he recommended Oates take over as the Buffalo coach. He did. Buffalo still ends up winning, gets him a job at Alabama. So the storyline for them to play each other would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. So let's hop over to the South.
Good old South side.
Now, the South and the Midwest are always top-loaded. Always top-loaded.
Top 4 seeds are the best seeds. It's not even close.
So, if you think twice about this 1 versus 16, you may as well just throw your bracket away right now. Baylor is on fire this year. They are moving on.
Baylor should win this game 100 to 30, and the only reason I give that Hartford team 30 is because I assume they're going to score on the walk-ons.
If they don't drop and beat that team by 36 or more, seriously, you should be sitting your starters and playing your second
36
team.
or more, then they should just claim they have COVID and leave the tournament altogether.
Glad we're on an understanding there. So, moving on. Obviously, big boys in blue bloods.
Wisconsin.
The
boys are
Badgers. Yo, guess what? Badgers, they're going down. There's no hesitation from my end. UNC, hey, they got some bad blood with those refs at Florida State that really screwed them out of the game in the ACC. Guess what? Because we would have took Georgia Tech instead of Florida State. That's besides the point. Not getting in the weeds, but UNC over Wisconsin, and I think it's by double digits. They have it spaced at 2 right now. That's a joke. And guess what, Baylor? We're coming for you.
I'm just going to let him do all the talking because I have UNC winning, but I know he's more passionate about it. So let's go to the next 5-12. You got Villanova versus Winthrop. Winthrop is 23-1.
Pretty impressive if you play cupcake schedules.
But here's what I'll tell you. If Villanova was fully healthy, Villanova walks into this game, smacks Winthrop around, and just finishes it. Not Winthrop. Villanova's starting point guard, leading scorer, blew out his knee. He's done. And because he's done, and he was 50% of their offense, I think this Winthrop team's going to take it to them. They're good at shooting the 3. I think Villanova's going to be one of those blue blood programs that just goes home early and everyone's disappointed, and then their fans will go, well, wait till next year.
Nah, I disagree. I think Winthrop played an absolute cupcake schedule. They're 23-1 for a reason. Guess what? None of their wins, I don't think, are very impressive. I think Villanova...
Go Eagles.
Villanova, without their best player, still beats them.
I guess we'll have to see on that one. But let's go to the 4-13. It's Purdue versus North Texas.
Purdue all day.
I don't have any respect for North Texas, so Mean Green, more like you're lame.
Yeah, Purdue. No comments additional
Purdue.
on there. Let's go into a more interesting game. 5 versus 11. Texas Tech versus Utah State. 6 versus 11. Tech versus Utah State.
Tech, maybe it's just because, the K-State bias, the Big 12 bias. Texas Tech has only lost 10 games because they had to play KU twice. They had to play Oklahoma State twice. They had to play Texas twice. They had to play Baylor twice. And they played those games pretty close. Chris Beard, great coach, great defense. They were in the before last year, before COVID, they were in the national championship game against Virginia. And I still think they should have won that game. That's a whole refs thing. But can he catch that magic again? I think he can, at least for this round. I think they're going to go and just smack around Utah State.
Well, I'd like to say I agree with you, but I don't. Because Utah State's going, and I don't think that enough people put their respect on the name. They almost didn't make the tournament.
I will never cheer for a team that their mascot is the Aggies.
They almost didn't make the tournament. But they're here.
Made the tournament.
And they're here for a reason. I think they beat Tech.
You're right. They are here for a reason, and it's to get bounced out in the first round.
So, 3:14, Arkansas or Arkansas, depending on where you're from.
It's Arkansas
versus Colgate.
The toothpaste.
13-1. Another one of those one losses.
They literally only played like the last 2 months. It's going to be Arkansas. Arkansas should have been in the SEC championship game, and I can't remember who they choked against, but it should have been them. It should have been them versus Alabama.
True. I got Arkansas moving on as well. Colgate does have an impressive record. They
shoot the three very well.
They do have a decent offense.
And you could argue that they're fresher because they played less games, but I would argue that you're not as well conditioned as this Arkansas team is who played since November.
I mean, you're playing basically.
You're gonna play the most intense basketball of your life.
Well, you're playing JUCO teams. I mean, seriously. I mean, you're Colgate.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're almost like an Ivy League team. They're not an Ivy League.
I mean, regardless. But
yeah, we don't care.
We're talking SEC versus nobody. Regardless, so
you got
moving on.
VTech versus Florida on the 7-10. So I don't know if we differ on this. Florida looked okay, but I like VTech, man. I like Virginia Tech. Former K-State player Cartier Jarre is there, and I enjoyed watching that dude while he was at K-State. I wish he wouldn't have transferred, but I understood it. I think they're going to play them close, and I think they're going to steal a win from Florida.
I disagree. I think Florida is going to take this one. Florida has had some impressive wins this season. I don't like either one of these teams at all.
I will have to say, riddle me this. Didn't Virginia Tech's best player, I think it was something Blackshear, transfer to Florida?
I'm not 100%
I can't remember.
sure
I think he
potentially.
You say what you make your point. I'm gonna Google that.
All I'm saying on this one is that is Virginia Tech an impressive team? Maybe not. They did lose to the Heels. I mean, it wasn't a very steep loss, but the Heels played a terrible game, and they still won.
He did transfer, but he already went to the draft because of all the COVID stuff. He transferred before the COVID season.
It'll be an interesting matchup, but I just think that this one is going to be a pretty close game, but I think Florida takes it. And moving on to the last game, 2 versus 15. I mean, don't even have to say the name Oral Roberts. Ohio State's moving on.
That's what she said. Sorry, Oral Roberts just gets me. Yeah, easy one. Next one. The Illinois Fighting Illini versus Drexel. It's
Illinois.
Now, I will say,
fear the face.
The only reason I want to watch this game, there's a former Kansas kid that played from like the Wichita area, plays for Drexel, and he's having a good year. It's just very sad. His best year is gonna end early against the Illini. They're the best team right now in the nation, playing the best basketball. Period. Easily.
Drexel Smexel, bro. Illinois is all the way.
Now you got Loyola Chicago, the miracle team from a couple years ago, because Sister Jean led them to the Elite Eight, where then they lost. Was it the Elite Eight?
Sweet.
I think they almost made it to the Final Four because they ended up beating K-State.
Yeah.
And I was super depressed, but Sister Jean, you can't bet against her. Wrong. I'm betting against her now because Georgia Tech and Josh Pastner are back, baby. They're going to go take it to Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago. I'm probably going to have to go to confession after this.
And guess what, Sister Jean? This one's coming at you hard and fast because Georgia Tech's going all the way, baby. They're beating Loyola Chicago. It's not going to be a game. There's no team that is less seeded than a 9 seed that's coming in hotter than Georgia Tech, with the exception of Syracuse. And I'll get to that later. Georgia Tech is winning this game.
So then let's go to the 5-12. You got Oregon State versus Tennessee. That's
a tough one.
Everyone's going to say Oregon State because Oregon State got hot and won the Pac-12. Tennessee
got cold. They got cold in the middle of the season.
They got cold, but they played Alabama in some of their best games.
I saw that.
I don't think they're going to win the whole thing, but I think they can beat the Beavers.
We'll see. I think that's another one that's a coin flip for me. I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon State. I was impressed with what they did. They were beating teams that were outside of, they
were beating teams they shouldn't have beat.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have beat Colorado. They shouldn't have beat Oregon. They shouldn't have beat USC. But they did it.
I just think that they're a quality team. I think that
they're one of those surprise teams. They're the ones that, like, if they could make a run, but it all depends on, they have to get hot.
I just think the Vols, they're not there this year.
They're not that great.
They started to taper off towards the end of the season.
They're incredibly average. Maybe they should take a lesson from their football team, just start giving people cash in a McDonald's bag.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-13 in the Midwest. here is a game that's going to be worth watching.
Yep.
If you had to tune in for one game in this first round,
I would watch this game. I'm going to watch this game. You got the Big 12 freshman and regular player of the year, Cade Cunningham for Oklahoma State, going against probably one of the best three-point shooting teams in the Liberty Flames. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a lot of looking at this. Like, Liberty's really solid. But once again, they played cupcake schedule, and they lost 5 games.
Yeah.
Oak State, I watched Oak State beat some of the best teams in the nation.
Yep.
But I also watched them choke. So
it's a tough one.
It's tough, man. But I have all the respect. Now, here's the funny part. Watch Oklahoma State go on a winning spree, and then all this gets stripped by the NCAA because, their coach hired Cunningham's brother, and they're under a lot of investigation for recruiting stuff. Besides the point, I'm going to go Oak State.
I'm going Oak State.
I like
Oak State
Cunningham.
as well.
That dude's going to be the number. Like, it's going to be him or that USC kid, number 1 kid in the draft. And I think Cunningham has probably some of the best handles I've seen.
Best
since,
finishing
Kyrie.
at the rim.
He reminds me a lot of he's like a bigger Kyrie Irving with his dribbling and his passing. He can shoot, but he's way more aggressive. He has that Allen Iverson attack, score at all times mentality.
I think everybody piggybacks off of him.
Oh,
and they win this game pretty easily.
So this is the game you alluded to earlier. You got the 6 versus 11. The San Diego State Aztecs versus Syracuse. Now, I think this Syracuse team is going to take a play out of their good old coach, Jim Boeheim's book, and just run over this competition.
Oh, I don't mean to laugh.
I'm sorry, that's really bad. It's a dark joke.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Google it. Jim Boeheim killed a guy, paid his family. They didn't care. But Buddy Boeheim, his son, who didn't kill a guy, allegedly.
One of the hottest teams right now.
It's weird because they were incredibly average all year, but we watched them beat teams like Duke. We watched them beat UNC. They play teams they shouldn't play close, very closely. It's that 2-3 zone. You know it's there, but it throws everyone off.
All I'm saying is if you allow, and it's easy to allow Buddy Boeheim to get hot.
Buddy Boeheim is going to make at least 6 threes.
When he gets hot, they ain't no stopping him, and they're just going to keep feeding him.
Over, under. If they give you a bet that says Buddy Boeheim, 5 or more threes, you hammer that over. He is going to make more than 5 threes. I would bet my mortgage on it.
And he's making a run. So I got Q's moving forward. So then we got the 3-14 right here. Yeah. West Virginia versus Morehead State.
Who?
Yeah.
It's West Virginia.
West Virginia all day.
Coach Huggins, baby. Yeah. Coach Huggins got to run them off the court.
That goatee's fierce, Huggins. I love it.
If they play as hard as his facial hair goes, they could win the whole damn thing.
You might have to shave it after that.
Huggins.
So,
undefeated.
Next one, 7 versus 10. We're getting close to the end right here.
Clemson versus Rutgers.
Clemson all day.
Clemson
shouldn't be there in the first place, and neither should Rutgers.
15-11?
Neither should Rutgers. What? Clemson wins this one, and I'm not even going to watch the game.
Clemson's going to run them out the gym.
I'm not even going to watch the game.
I wouldn't.
Because guess what? It could be a blowout, and it could be a win by 3 points. I'm not going to watch the game.
Rutgers is the place where all athletic talent goes to die.
I mean,
I'm sorry to say that sounds rude. It's just, they had one of the worst football games, and I think it was them versus KU, and they were both winless for years. So, this is horrible.
Clemson wins that one easy.
Last game of the Midwest bracket.
Let's keep it short. Houston.
The Houston Cougs, man. They got a former KU player. Quentin Grimes.
Knocking it out of the park.
Everyone said he's going to go there. He's just, because their best player before the year transfers. He transfers due to COVID. So everyone's like, man, Houston's going to not be that good this year. Quentin Grimes, he left KU because he wasn't getting on the court as much as he wanted to. He's from that area. He's looked pretty damn good over at Houston. I think he made a great choice.
He's making it happen.
He's definitely boosting that draft stock. I would definitely take Houston, Quentin Grimes.
They can't beat Wichita State, but that's a whole other story as well. We can get into the weeds on that.
They sure could beat Cincinnati though.
Regardless of it, that was the first 2 rounds. If you're counting Thursday, we know that there's going to be more games on the 22nd.
There's definitely going to be more games, but we don't want to get into that because here's the thing: if we get into it now, analyzing it, and we're completely wrong, we look like idiots.
I mean,
it's factual, but You don't have to.
We all know I ain't dropping games, so if you want to copy my bracket, I'm gonna put a screenshot of a picture on my.
I'll put a picture of mine.
We'll put it on the Facebook. I'll make sure that we
compete with us, because guess what, guys? I'm sorry, but we know we're better than you.
I am, but he's not. We're gonna make it happen. You see this right here? It's a 6-1 trophy. It's about to be Dom's trophy all day, every day.
When
Madness.
when I win this March Madness thing, I'm gonna take my stimmy. Yes, I said stimmy, not stimulus. And I'm going to buy myself a spinner belt. And you're going to know I'm the best because I'll take it everywhere I go.
Regardless of it, play with us again. Fill out your bracket.
Print out a bracket. Take a picture of it. Let's go. Prove to us that you're better than us. Prove to your buddies you're better than them. Get them to sign up because we are thinking of doing a competition. We got to think of a way to do it or what you want. Comment what you'd want.
You want a 6-1 trophy? I'll get one for you.
We'll get you one. You want? Well, just tell us. Tell us what you're thinking, and we'll make it.
You want to be on the podcast?
Yeah, you want to be on the podcast?
Who knows?
Right here. We might have to spread it out, be 6 feet apart, but we'll make it happen.
Regardless of that, we thank you guys again. We'll be back again.
Probably in a couple days.
Probably in a couple days. We're going to be into that second round pretty fast.
Maybe we get up on the Facebook. We can do a Facebook Live through one of the games.
Potentially.
Now, we can't show the game because, obvious copyright things. But we can do live commentary on one of the games.
That's true.
Hey, it's better than Bill Walton. It won't be great, but it's going to be better than Bill Walton. So.
Anything's better than him or Dick Vitale.
Anyways,
we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. It's been your boy, Dom.
And X.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Like, share, and subscribe, baby.
Peace.